I wanted to be at Texas State. I chose to be at Texas State. I'm from Texas. That was important to me. I always knew if the right guy got this job, you better watch out.
You better watch out. This is Win Now or Get Bent, episode 126. If you don't already know, I'm Kev Chardello, coming to you on Friday, September 16th, and the Bobcats are back in San Marcos. That's right, home opener this weekend. Bobcats hosting Jackson State. First two games on the road, non-conference. Nice for them to finally be back in San Marcos, even though it wasn't too far. Those first two, we just went north up 35 to Waco for the first one, and then south down 35 for the next one against UTSA. But now they're right in the middle, back here in San Marcos. Texas State hosting Jackson State. We got a nice preview this episode of Jackson State. We'll talk a little volleyball, a little soccer, a little bit of the block party the Bobcats are having in San Marcos today, Friday, September 15th, 6 p.m. And then we'll do a nice preview of Jackson State. But before we get there, this episode is sponsored by TGC. TGC LLC, the Galindo Collective. You can find them at thegalindocollective.com, Galindo, galindocollective.com. They are a team of professional consultants dedicated to helping others realize their business potential through people, planning, and practice. Their services cover a wide range of areas such as business strategy, marketing, human resources, and financial planning. If you own property or a business and want to maximize its profitability, contact TGC at thegalindocollective.com, Galindo, galindocollective.com, and follow their social media platforms on Twitter at TGC_LLC, and on Instagram and Facebook at the Galindo Collective. Shout out to my guy Rick Galindo down there. He's a true sicko, a Tech State grad, a true Tech State sicko. He'll be with us the whole season. So thank you so much to the galindocollective.com, Galindo, galindocollective.com. We are also sponsored by Balcones Roofing and Remodeling, the most experienced F-Wave roofing contractor in Central Texas. F-Wave is a highly impact-resistant lifetime shingle with stunning designer curb appeal. It is the only roofing product on the market with an exclusive hail warranty. We all know here in Texas, a hail warranty is as good as gold. If you have one of those asphalt shingles, that hail is just going to demolish it, and you'll have to contact your insurance company. You'll have guys on your roof banging, making noises all day. You can't hear the Bobcats on TV because of all the noise. You don't want that. Get this F-Wave shingle, and it's there. It is hail. It is an exclusive hail warranty. Shout out to my guy, Carl Larson, a brand new Tech State sicko, a disgruntled Gamecock. He came over to the good side. He's rooting on the Bobcats. We'll see how they hang this week at Jackson State. I got to reach out to him, see if he's coming out to another game. But you can reach out to him at 512-937-8805. That's 512-937-8805. Online at balconesroofsaustin.com, BALCONES, balconesroofsaustin.com, and on Twitter at balconesroofing. On Twitter, he also has the probably Austin's best roofer. We'll go ahead and say it. You are the Austin's best roofer, balconesroofsaustin.com. Thanks to Carl over there. A new sponsor alert. Might be a name some of you already know. If you don't know it, you should know it. Thaddeus Watkins, San Marcos Edward Jones financial advisor. Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized to you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? When you work with Thaddeus Watkins, your San Marcos Edward Jones financial advisor, he focuses on what's important to you. You'll work together and use an established process to create a personalized financial strategy backed by the advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. Contact Thaddeus Watkins at 737-373-8200. That's 737-373-8200, and at edwardjones.com/Thaddeus-Watkins. And you can find him on Twitter at Big Thad. That's 2 G's in big and 2 D's in Thad with a little underscore at the very end. You should be following him anyway. If you know who Thaddeus Watkins is, he used to play for the Bobcats. Not too many ex-Bobcats football players still live in town, have a business that they own, and are still very much a part of the community. Thaddeus Watkins absolutely is. I see him at practices all the time. I see him at events all the time. And I was very humbled and touched when he reached out and wanted to sponsor the pod. So here he is. He's with us. So any you need a financial advisor and you're in San Marcos or near San Marcos, you better hit up our guy Thaddeus Watkins at San Marcos Edward Jones. All right. A lot of ad reads. You know, we are, it's been great. It's helped us with growth of the pod. We have a couple more spots. We're really trying to get, if you notice all these businesses, they're Tech State grads or they're new Texas State fans or they're ex-Texas State football players. So we're really trying to curate the right type of sponsors for this. Hit us up if you want to sponsor. WNOGBKEF@gmail.com. That's WNOGBKEFF@gmail.com. Okay, let's get to Bobcats. We were talking alumni Bobcats sponsoring the pod. Now let's get to some current student athletes. We'll start with volleyball and soccer. We'll get to them. Volleyball is 5-3 on the season. They haven't played since the last episode, but they are in the Jayhawk Invitational this weekend, starting with New Hampshire and Bellarmine on Friday. Bellarmine, you know, I like reaching out to y'all and saying I haven't heard of this college, so if you have and you know anything about them, give me some info on good old Bellarmine, because that's a new one for me. They're also playing Kansas on Saturday. Kansas is hosting at the Jayhawk Invitational. And then conference play starts next Thursday. They're getting going. They have ULM. So it's already, they're getting after it. New season, new players. I mean, Janelle Fitzgerald no longer there. Emily DeWalt no longer there. I'm really fascinated to see how they do once they get into conference play, because, I mean, we saw it the last 5 seasons. They were pretty dominant. So soccer is 5-3, got some wins after they had a couple losses. They're back in their winning ways, 3 in a row. They're 5-3. They're starting conference play this Sunday. They're already jumping back in it. They are hosting Louisiana, and then they are at Arkansas State that Thursday. So there you go. Soccer coming off a big win over Houston, number 13 Houston, on Sunday. All right, the Bobcats block party. I want to get this one right, so I'm going to read the press release that they have, because I do want to, because I hadn't talked. I've meant to talk about it. Get distracted. Football, lots going on this time of year, but I did want to promote this because I think it's really cool. It's part of the Town and Gown initiative that Texas State is doing to lessen the gap between the university and the local people that live in San Marcos. There has been not a bit of a gap between those, like getting local San Marcos people to come to Texas State events, Texas State games, to truly embrace Texas State. It's been an uphill battle for a while, and it's good to see this initiative to try and mend those fences. You know, I wouldn't say I say mend fences as if there's bad blood. I don't think there's any bad blood. It's just been two different San Marcoses, if I'm being honest. And 35 kind of splits them up. On one side of 35 is Texas State. On the other side is the San Marcos Rattlers, like the townspeople and people that are growing up in San Marcos, and not just the college kids on the other side. And just closing that gap a little bit, I think, is great. And part of that is they're doing Back the Bobcats block party to take over San Marcos on September 15th. It's a free event for all ages, be held on North Street between Hopkins and Hutchinson in San Marcos. Shout out to North Street. Pretty sure that's owned by Bobcats, Zelix and all that. There's some Bobcats. I like North Street. They have some good, interesting cuisine for sure. I think I had some curry last time I was there. It's good stuff. But yes, let's read. I'm gonna read this press release. I'll go through it pretty quick because I want people to go check this out. I think this is a cool thing, and if you're around town, go check it out. I'm gonna go check it out. I might as well. I'll see what the Wizard's up to. Zach Webb, see if you can get that fancy camera out there. But with Bobcat Nation, here, press release beginning, with Bobcat Nation riding a huge wave of momentum, Texas State will host the Back the Bobcats block party on Friday, September 15th in San Marcos in a must-attend event on the eve of the Bobcats football home opener. Starting at 6 p.m., the Back the Bobcats block party, gosh, I love that alliteration, that's a lot of B's, will have live entertainment and music, food, drinks, and special appearances, including by Texas State head football coach G.J. Kinney, we know that guy, and players. The free event for all ages will take place on North Street between Hopkins and Hutchinson near Zellick's and North Street Curry Shop. Yeah, it was curry that I had there. Sometimes my wife drags me to some really good places. For up to me, just, give me some wings or something. The block party is a part of a week-long spirit initiative by the San Marcos Chamber of Commerce, Texas State Athletics, and Texas State University, and leading up to the football home opener on September 16th at Bobcat Stadium against Jackson State. Tickets are available for the home opener and start at $20. Go check it out. Go to the game. Fans can purchase tickets at txst.com/tickets. In addition to being a family-friendly event, Texas State University will provide free rides from campus to the block party for students from 5 to 8 p.m. with the Student Safety Escort Service. The program is free to all Texas State students by showing their Bobcat ID. Very cool. I have an old one. Will it work for me? Probably not. I don't look the same. The San Marcos Chamber of Commerce is doing Spirit Week starting Monday, September 12th. San Marcos Consolidated Independent School District will kick it off with Spirit competition, followed by a pep rally with BOCO at the Winning Elementary. Local businesses through San Marcos community will also paint the town maroon and gold, and a Back the Bobcats decorating contest, something our good buddy Thaddeus Watkins at Edward Jones, he participated in that. I took some pictures and I put that on Twitter, so go check that out. It's got a lot of competition though. There's a lot of big turnout for that. Winners will be selected in categories of Best Exterior, Best Interior, Best Window Signage, Display, and Most Spirited. Texas State is coming off a big weekend. Wow. After all that reading, I had a big cough. Texas State is coming off a big weekend of wins, highlighted by the football team's 42-31 win over Baylor to open its 2023 season. The volleyball team has also swept number 13 Houston at home. Both teams are now receiving votes in their respective national polls. Ooh, had to get some water after all that ad reading. But yeah, go check that out. Back the Bobcats block party. That's a really cool initiative. I think it's going to be a really worthwhile deal. I'll be there. I'll check it out. I'll be looking for GJ and the players all around. But let's do it. Preview for this weekend. Jackson State coming to San Marcos. No Deion Sanders. It's a little disappointing. We were all expecting Deion this time last year looking at Jackson State, but he's off to Colorado. But Jackson State, they're coming in 2-1. They just recently beat Southern. They started the season beating South Carolina State, and in the middle they lost to Florida A&M. They are the back-to-back SWAC champions. 18 SWAC championships overall for them. They've won quite a bit in their history. But they did lose 24 players in the transfer portal after Deion left. 9 of them went to Colorado. They just followed him. Of course, everybody knows Shedeur Sanders, quarterback up there at Colorado. He had 40 touchdowns and 6 interceptions last year for Jackson State. So big hole when he left. Travis Hunter, of course, the wide receiver DB, really fun player playing both sides of the ball. Willie Gaines, who has an amazing name for a wide receiver playing football. I guess, wide receiver. What other sport would a wide receiver play? But Willie Gaines, that name, Willie Gaines Yards. I like that a lot. Offensive tackle Tyler Brown also went to Colorado. And running back Savion Wilkerson. On the defensive side, Shiloh Sanders, Deion's other son, safety. Safety Cameron Simon Craig. Linebacker Jeremiah Brown. And place kicker Alejandro Mata. So those were all key players. They played quite a bit, and they followed Deion Sanders to Colorado. They also had a couple really good players go to the NFL. Aubrey Miller, he's on the Dolphins now, and Isaiah Bolden is on the Patriots, linebacker and a defensive back. So after winning back-to-back SWAC championships, they lost a lot of its talent. 70 new players on the team and a new coach. Although the coach, T.C. Taylor, he was there. He was the offensive coordinator for Deion. He played at Jackson State back in the day, started out as a quarterback, switched to wide receiver, had an amazing senior season as a wide receiver, parlayed it into a little bit of a pro career. and he's worked his way up the coaching ranks. Got to Jackson State in 2019. He was the offensive coordinator. Let's see, I know I typed it out. He was the offensive coordinator, wide receiver, and tight ends coach last year. Last year and the year before, the 2 years that their most recent SWAC championships. So he was instrumental. Deion Sanders left, and he took a lot of his luggage with him. But TC Taylor was pretty instrumental in the success that Jackson State had last year. And it seemed like the right move Jackson State made, just elevate that offensive coordinator in that situation. It's a big vacuum. Deion Sanders leaving, of course. All 24 players hop in the portal right after. You lose some other guys to the NFL. 70 new players in order to make up for it. So there was a lot they had to do. But through the first 3 games of the season, they have the second best offense and the second best defense statistically in the SWAC. And it's only 3 games into the year, so not putting a ton of weight into that, but that's still significant in its own right that they were the first 3 games they're able to start out pretty strong. I mentioned TC Taylor, their head coach. He's brought in some players since taking over as the main man, looking over Jackson State. Number 4, QB Jason Brown. He's coming in. He's a grad transfer from Virginia Tech. Before Virginia Tech, he was at South Carolina, and before South Carolina, he was at St. Francis. He's a stout quarterback, 6'2", 230 pounds. He's not 6'7", 250 like TJ Finley, but he's still a pretty big quarterback. I have 230's a pretty hard guy to take down when you're trying to sack a quarterback. But he was an FCS All-American in 2019 at St. Francis. He only had 4 starts at South Carolina in 2021. Didn't do a whole lot there. And then he transferred to Virginia Tech. Only 3 appearances there last season. This year, he's got 3 starts, started all the games, 622 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Been clean in the turnover department. Very similar to Finley in that sense as well. The one game that they lost, the 28-10 loss to Florida A&M, he only had 82 yards passing. So that tells me that this offense really goes through the quarterback. Go figure. Like that's really reinventing the wheel with that take. But Isaac Peppers is another guy to look at. He's a new player on their team, number 13, out there playing linebacker. He's not a P5 transfer like Jason Brown. He's actually within the same level. UAPB grad transfer. Played 31 games at UAPB, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. If you don't get that, the acronym there, abbreviation, I should say, not an acronym. But in 31 games, he had 160 tackles, 23 tackles for a loss, and 13.5 sacks. He's the leading tackler now for Jackson State with 22, 4 tackles for a loss, and a sack. I'd watch out for Isaac Peppers. He seems like he's a really good player. Grad transfer, just 1 year left, but that's a really good guy to infuse on this team in this kind of strange year, the year right after Deion leaves, where there's a big vacuum, and they needed to bring in some players, and they brought in some pretty good players. They lost in the transfer portal, they lost to graduation in the NFL, but they were able to grab some good dudes. Here's another one, cornerback Jaheim Hazel. He's from Wofford. They have 2 good Wofford transfers. I'm going to be talking about another one. At Wofford, he played in 38 games with 11 starts, 10 pass breakups, and 1 fumble recovery. Pretty decent stats at Wofford. But this year, why I put him on this list this year, when I was looking through their players and seeing what they had done through the first 3 years, he has 2 blocked field goals already. He has 1 interception, his first career interception. So in those 38 games at Wofford, no interceptions playing corner. He's already got 1 this year. 3 pass breakups, 7 tackles. But 5 of those tackles came last week against Southern. That's a career high for him with 5 tackles. So a pretty decent corner in Jaheim Hazel. I put this player on the returners to watch list, but he's actually a new player as well. So I kind of messed up there. It's the other Wofford transfer that I was alluding to when talking about Jaheim Hazel. This is number 5, their running back, Irv Mulligan. He didn't play last year. He was hurt while at Wofford. But before that, he played in 19 games with 10 starts at Wofford, 1,324 yards, 6.9 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns while at Wofford. This season, early in the season, He is the leading rusher for Jackson State with 291 yards rushing, 5.4 per carry, and 2 touchdowns. So number 5 at running back might be a little bit of a problem. So in summation, the quarterback, running back, got to watch out for those guys. They're new guys, but new guys that have already made an impact. And same for number 13, Isaac Peppers at linebacker, number 3, Jaheim Hazel. Some guys who are returning to watch. I meant to make a list of 3 for each players, new players and old players that are back. So I just have 2 here. But now I was thinking about there's another one that I was looking at that I'll talk about. But returners to watch out at wide receiver for Jackson State, Rico Powers. This is somebody they really need to keep an eye on. He was originally a South Carolina transfer. He's in his 2nd year at Jackson State. This year he's got 11 catches for 290 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's 26.3 yards per catch. So to say he's been taking the top off the defense is understating it. The guy has been getting some big catches, so watch out for number 1, Rico Powers. And the next guy I put on, they don't have a ton of returners, like I was saying. So I was kind of struggling to find guys that I really thought were impact guys. There's some on the offensive line that I could have talked about, and the defensive line. But the player that I listed here is J.D. Stevens. He's a tight end. He had just 4 touchdowns last year, just 1 touchdown this year so far. But he's a big tight end, 6'4", 250. And that's the type of size that I saw create problems for Texas State when they're playing Baylor with Drake Dansby. And so notice that they're in this man coverage that they're doing, this 4-2-5 man coverage. The mismatch there, the automatic mismatch is a big tight end, because if you put the nickel, the star, if you will, there's just going to be a height difference, and right up the seam, you throw that ball a little high. That big tight end just needs to reach up a little bit, and they have that mismatch. And so that's why I put J.D. Stevens there. That's the returner to watch. He doesn't necessarily statistically pop off when you look at that, but he's somebody that Jason Brown, the new quarterback that they have, has used as a security blanket early on. Just 3 games, not a lot of film to really look at, but I still think he's somebody worth watching. So that's number 86 on their offense. And Devontae Davis, I know I almost put him on this list and then I didn't, and I put Irv Mulligan, but he's actually a new player when I want to put him on a returner to watch. But Devontae Davis on their defensive line, pretty good defensive lineman. He's coming back for them. Those are just the players that I wanted to keep an eye on, especially when so many guys leave. It's like, okay, who are the new guys? That's going to tell you a lot about this team and what they were able to do in the transfer portal. They lost 24 guys in the transfer portal. I wasn't able to get an exact number of how many they added, but they were able to add some key players as we just went through and talked about. And it's an FCS program. It's a SWAC program. I guess that's why I can't find any gambling numbers on it. If you found any, hit me up and let me know what you're looking at there. I do have on ESPN.com. They have their matchup predictor, and they have Texas State as 97.7% chance of winning, which that seems nice, right? But Texas State, it was similar numbers when they were playing Baylor. So how close can that be? Now, there is a little bit more to go on than before that game at Baylor. There was way more unknown before that Baylor game. And this one, both teams have played. Jackson State's played 3 games. Texas State's played 2. So there's a little bit more for them to go on there. But I still don't think this is a team that should be underestimated. I opened it up talking about how they've won the SWAC 18 times in their history, including the last 2. The opponent the Bobcats played last week, UTSA, 2-time defending conference champions in Conference USA. So it's nothing to take lightly when these teams win their conference, even if you're like, it's the SWAC, it's a smaller conference. They went up against their peers and beat their peers they were competing with recruits for. Maybe not last year with Dion. I say they were competing with recruits for, but I don't know how many other schools were neck and neck with them trying to get Travis Hunter. But that being said, it's not to be taken lightly, no matter the level they're at. We saw Texas State take Incarnate Word lightly a couple years ago, and that didn't go in their favor. I've even had people try to make the excuses for Texas State because I was really hard after that happened. I was hard on this podcast after that happened, where I said this is an embarrassing loss. Losing to an FCS program is an embarrassing to the program. Oh, but they have Cam Ward, really good quarterback. I'll give you that. It was 25 players were out because of COVID. That was 2021. Shouldn't have been 25 players out because of COVID in 2021. 2020, that was understandable. That was happening all over the place. 2021, it was like, what are you doing? It hasn't happened in a year. And a lot of those 25 guys weren't necessarily starters. And if you take this, you underestimate this opponent, and that's what happens. That's what happened to Baylor week 1 against Texas State. They underestimated Texas State, and we all saw the end result for the Baylor Bears. Don't want that to happen for the Bobcats. So you can't underestimate it. I have them winning this game for sure. I have them winning this one, and I have them winning Nevada. We'll talk about Southern Miss once they get into conference. I had them losing it before when I was talking in fall camp, and I had them going 6-6. That could change. I want to see what the Bobcats do these next 2 games, and if they can come out of non-conference 3-1, they're sitting pretty for a bowl game. 3-1. That is the record. When I was talking 6-6 bowl game, winning record, all that stuff, they needed to come out of non-conference 3-1. And that'll start against Jackson State. But you can't look ahead. You can't look past Jackson State. You can't think back on last week to the loss. That's not this week. Can't think about next week because that's not this week. Have to think about this week. And they know that. This is a smaller opponent. ESPN gives them a 98% chance to win the game. But that means nothing. It means even less when you talk about Nash Jones being out. Nash Jones, he's not going to play this week. I know it's a break, 8 to 10 weeks for whatever it is. Could be back earlier, according to GJ Kinney at his press conference on Tuesday. So that's a huge loss. Team captain, starting left tackle, turned down P5s to follow GJ Kinney to Texas State. Good chance he's going to be gone for the majority of the season, if not the entire season. Because in order to really get that medical red shirt, you have to play 4 games or less. He may be eligible for that if he doesn't play this season, because he has 2 years left. He is already a redshirt junior. He'd have to pass a waiver and everything, but not very, very, very bad for this offensive line to lose a player like Nash Jones. I will say there's some confidence around Trenton Scott, even on the last episode, I said did not have the best game, but I'm still rooting for him because I am. I'm personally rooting for him. Luling kid from just down the road in Luling. Got to see him when he signed to the Bobcats and everything. So I've always pulled for him. And there is confidence in him now that it's known he's going to be the guy to come in and take over that position. It'll be, they're able to prepare for it. When it happens mid-game, kind of scrambling, what do you do? Who we putting where? We saw Dorian Strawn there at tackle for a bit when he's been starting at left guard. It seems like they're going to keep Strawn at guard and put Trenton Scott there at left tackle. But he's definitely out, for sure out. A game time decision, but probably also out is Connor Fox, tight end. Started that first game against Baylor, had a really good catch, set up a drive, got him in the red zone in that game. I guess after halftime, he didn't come back. I didn't notice it during Baylor, but I guess that's what happened. So he didn't play last week, probably not going to play this week. Don't know when he's going to come back, even though they say game time decision, leaning towards out though. Who knows how long that injury is. And now, got to remember with Connor Fox, he came in with lingering issues, injury issues. He came in the spring. He was wearing the red jersey, wasn't allowed to take part in contact or anything during the spring. So this has been it's been an issue for him. Don't know what that means for when he comes in. But they seem to really, they were using him for blocking quite a bit. I mentioned the catch, but he was a really good blocker as well. That's what he did at Kansas State. When he was in San Antonio in high school, caught a lot of passes. He was a pass catcher there. He can catch passes. We saw it against Baylor, but they were using him primarily as like that blocker. But we'll see some Titus Lyons. Titus Lyons getting in there. They put him on scholarship not too long ago. He's a pretty good player himself, getting an increased opportunity. We saw him get more of an increased opportunity towards the end of last year. Waiting to see some Simon Gonzalez or Jake Simpson, the freshman at Independence. Caleb Godfrey as well. Shout out to Caleb Godfrey. There were a lot of injuries at tight end. He was the one guy they used out there. So, but Connor Fox likely out. Other guys that are on the game time decision list: Sam Latham, defensive end. We've seen him have some good success when he's come in there, but when he went down, we saw Chance Mann get in there and Ben Bell. We moved him away from that outside linebacker spot, put him in his hand in the dirt. But Sam Latham's game time decision. Good chance he comes back, though. Tavian Coleman will be back. He went down that last game. They gave him a podium appearance and everything on Tuesday, so we got to talk to him on Tuesday. He's healthy. He's in good spirits. He'll be back, which is good that he's been starting at that defensive tackle position since there's been no Jason Gold, which I still don't know what the situation is with Jason Gold. I know he's out. I don't think it's an injury. At this point, they would have seen the way, especially if go look at those press conferences. I'll make sure to upload the presser pod, by the way. I didn't do that last week. Things got really crazy for me in my personal life. I'll get around to that soon enough. But it got a little crazy for me, so I didn't get to get to that one. But I will put that out. But if you want to see that or hear it before, go check out the YouTube channel for Texas State Athletics. They'll have that up there. And we got to talk to Tavian Coleman on there, but you'll see GJ Kinney. When he talks about injuries, I was like, I don't know how GJ is going to be when I ask him about injuries, because he's very close to the vest with everything, and he was very open as you can be. You don't want to give away everything about every ache and pain to the other team and all that. But as far as players that were out, he was pretty open with it. But when asked about Jason Gold before, it was, he's not here, and that's all I'm going to say on it. So something's going on there. I don't know what. Don't know what yet, but there's something there. Because all fall camp, that was supposed to be the best defensive lineman. Or at least interior defensive lineman, I should say. Defensive tackle type. From the way they were talking about him, they gave him number 10. It's kind of a smaller number for a defensive lineman. And those are very coveted, those lower numbers. So I don't know. I don't know what's up. But with him not there, Tavian Coleman got the start. He may have started across from him as well, but I was thinking it was going to be Gold and Myron Warren. But Tavian Coleman getting in there and making the most of it. I mean, we put out that UTSA recap video. We did it again. Even in losses, we got to do it. You got to go check it out, though. It's a lot of Texas State highlights. I really go for it with narrator voice. May sound a little Batman-y, little. It's going for Liev Schreiber. It came out Bruce Wayne, but I'm still with it. I'm gonna bring it that way every time. But you see a really good sack, or I think it's TFL by Tavian Coleman, and you can even see him getting held. I mentioned it on the last pod that 20-yard touchdown from Frank Harris to Willie McCoy. You can see Tavian Coleman getting held there. But great stuff by Tavian Coleman. He will be back. Same with Christian Rory. That was the third defensive lineman that went down for the Bobcats. Ashton Hawkins went down, but he came back. Dan Foster Jr. went down, but that may have been some gamesmanship. He'll be back as well. So that's really it on the injury list for now, as far as I know. Nash Jones out, Connor Fox probably out. Returners, Bo Corrales is supposed to be back. He was practicing on Tuesday when I was up there at practice. Should be back. Langston Anderson should be back. Both of them should make their debut in maroon and gold. I know a lot of you asked about Sean Shaw. Did you see he made a catch last week? So they're after last game, I was like, this team is beat up. This was a tough physical game. They're gonna go into the home opener pretty banged up. Not the case. Not as much as I anticipated after that game, because that was a really physical game. And there's probably some aches and pains we don't know about. There's some injuries of guys that we didn't see go down necessarily in the game, that they left the game, and it's like, oh man, that's actually that's a little messed up there. So there may be some of that, but for the most part, this team is pretty healthy for going up against two pretty tough opponents the first two games of the year. And I said it on the last pod. If you finishing 1-1 after those first two games, it's pretty good. They were not favored in either game. In fact, they were favored to lose, but they were underdogs by at least two touchdowns in each one. They were supposed to lose by 2 scores. And they won one of them, lost by 1 score in the other. So and to go through that, and losing Nash Jones, it's tough. That's one of the toughest positions to lose, especially how much that left tackle meant to this offense. And in implementing, he was the leader, not just of the offensive line, of that offense. And G.J. Kinney kind of alluded to that on Tuesday. But they'll have to overcome. They went out and got 12, 13 offensive linemen, that 53-man class that they got. A lot of offensive linemen. Trenton Scott, I've been waiting for him for 3 years. I know he's been waiting, so I'm ready for him to get his opportunity. Shaky first start, that false start after the Cole Wilson catch. That's tough, but you shake it off. That was last week. This is this week. I'm looking for big things for Trenton Scott. But that's going to be key to it. I mean, it's going to be TJ Finley again this week. I would love to see some Malik Hornsby, preferably in, Bobcats up by a few touchdowns, and then you see Malik Hornsby. It'd be nice. We were teased with it on Saturday. Didn't happen. Came out for a second and nothing happened there. I'd really like to see that. I'd like to see this. I'd like to see better blocking. Now, this is on paper, at least, it's a lesser opponent than Baylor and UTSA. If that's the case, then this offensive line should bully them around. If they don't bully them around, then I'm going to be concerned. Even though when I asked about if offensive line was an issue to G.J. Kinney, said there were other things. We went that they went over in practice. The running backs need to hit their assignment. The quarterback, there was something they were doing with the quarterback where the quarterback's supposed to look off a certain defender that wasn't happening. TJ Finley wasn't doing that enough. And that in turn didn't help. It wasn't just blocking. It was other people's jobs as well. And I'll give him that. That's fine. That I'll succeed. I will accept that for this last game. But this game, the offensive line needs to have a much better performance. It needs to have a much better than 1.1 yards per carry average for the running backs. And I mean, honestly, the running backs as well, definitely, they need to step up. If you look at outside of a 65-yard touchdown by Ishmael Mahdi, I haven't necessarily loved the running game. The third running back they use is Jeter. That's probably the one that I've liked the most. He's got 2 touchdowns in his carries, but they've relegated him to almost a goal line back. And I get it, when they look at their backs, they probably don't. They look at Jeter and think, oh man, this guy's 230, 240. That's a goal line back, but he's pretty shifty. And when we saw him in the spring running in this offense specifically, he looked like he was really favoring this offense. As a guy, he was a player that didn't always pick the right hole or the right lane sometimes. In the last offense, in Spavital's offense, when it was more option, you choose either go this way or that way. And this one, it's like, hey, you go this way. And he seemed to really thrive in that. And who knows, maybe I'm being a layman over here and simplifying a very complex offense, but that's how it looks to me. And he's been the one back that in their early amount of carries, he's had some success with it. He just hadn't got a lot of them, and they always seem to be in the red zone by the goal line. And I think he can be utilized away from the goal line. He's not a scat back, a fast guy like Ishmael Mahdi or Calvin Hills, 2 really speedster guys. But I think he can be utilized in a few different ways. Because really, outside of that Mahdi 65-yard touchdown, which was incredible, haven't seen much from the running backs. That may have to do with blocking, may have to do with the running backs. has to do with both, according to Kinney. So need to see a better, because this offense, it's not an air raid. It's not just passing. It's 50-50. Need to see the 50, because when the running's not going, the passing can't go. But again, not reinventing the wheel with that take, but that's specifically in this offense, they feed off each other. Can't pass your way out of it in this offense. They need both. But that's the main thing, that because after that game against UTSA, my concerns are more on offense than defense. The defense isn't perfect, but man, that defensive line gets after it. And it's you got to talk to Chance Main on Tuesday, which go listen to that. He's great. You can tell that guy's had to reluctantly get in front of a lot of cameras, so now he's really good at it. Last Chance U, and then the Deion Sanders show for a little bit while he was up there at Colorado. He's really good, and him just talking about how different this defense is, just the free form that they allow the defensive linemen to have to just get after it and make some plays, get some TFLs, get some sacks. It's nice and you can tell that they are just, hey, stunt here, stunt there every now and then, but really it's go get that quarterback is the goal. Feast or famine, as I've said, and I hope that doesn't come off as a negative, because they feast quite a bit. They feasted against UTSA, feasted against Baylor, didn't feast enough against UTSA. But that's how this offense thrives, on getting after the quarterback. At Incarnate Word, Jonathan Patke, this was how they did it at Incarnate Word as well. They were near the top of the nation in tackles for a loss and sacks as a unit. I know it goes back to Manny Diaz at Miami, is where that goes back to. You can hear Chance Main even talk about that a little bit. Pretty sure it was Chance, maybe been Tavian. It was two defensive linemen we got to talk to, which was pretty nice, because they've been playing really well. Some of their guys went down last week, but it seems like they'll be back for the most part. And when they went out and they got, I think it was 12 defensive linemen, Chance Main and Victor Obi at the very end. We haven't even seen much of Obi or Devin Wright. I know people have asked about Devin Wright. I just think they're really deep on the defensive line, so he hasn't broken through the rotation. But they're very, very deep at that position. So, and they rotate a lot of guys, because it is that feast or famine. This 4-2-5 man coverage really relies on pressure on the quarterback for that man coverage to hold up. It's a fun defense, though. Offense and defense are really fun. That's been the coolest part. Is they're 1-1. And it hasn't necessarily, completely set the world on fire. But it's fun. Both games are fun. The offense wasn't fun last game. It was almost fun. It almost got fun. It started out really bad, and it ended pretty bad. The start was worse than the end, in my opinion. But there was some fun stuff in the middle. And I said it on the last pod. When TJ Finley has that blocking and he really steps into that throw, man, he could deliver a really pretty ball. And that's exciting. And hey, TJ Finley, shout out to the Frary and Smith podcast. They cover a lot of Sunbelt stuff all around. Me and the wizard, Zachary Webb, got to hang out with them a little bit at New Orleans Sunbelt Media Day. He announced he's having twins on their podcast. So shout out to TJ Finley. It's got two babies coming, man. That means he's in for statistically a really good season. He's got, that fatherhood. It does something to you. He's just operating at a different level. Everything's clicking on all cylinders for him. We'll see. But congratulations, TJ Finley. It's very cool. But when he has blocking and he has the time and he steps into a throw, man, he can really deliver it. He's got a great arm. And we saw him get a little frisky running the ball too. Again, people they were he's slow, so slow, can't do it. That must be SEC slow. It's not fast. I'm not saying he's fast. I'm not saying he's a dual threat. It's not slow though. He can move around. He can get away from stuff. got hit hard a lot against UTSA. It's made me glad he's a pretty big quarterback. He needed all of that. But that's it for the most part. Offense is on notice. Need to see the offense. I guess I haven't given a prediction or anything. I think this needs to be a double-digit win for the Bobcats for true comfortability. 2-3 scores. Above that is even better. But I think this needs to be an opponent that's coming into San Marcos. Bobcats are coming off a loss. They need to come in hot. Can't come in underestimating Jackson State. This is a program, whether Dion's here or not, that has had success at their level. And that can't be overlooked. Especially if you're looking past them to look at Nevada. Don't do that. It's the offense. The offense for me is on notice. They need to put up some points. Need to light up the scoreboard after a 13-point performance. I'm pretty sure G.J. Kinney and Mac Leftwich and T.J. Finley, they're all feeling the same kind of way after putting up 13 points. I know that left a bad taste in all of their mouth. Not used to that. G.J. Kinney and Mac Leftwich, they didn't do that at all at Incarnate Word. They did lose a regular season game last year. They lost one, and they rattled off 9 straight wins. Not saying that's going to happen here this season, but we've seen this staff bounce back from a loss and see if they can do that again this week. But if I have to predict, Cats are going to win. I have Texas State winning. But can't disrespect this opponent too much. So, I'm going to say 38-22. How about that? It's a fun score. You like that one? 16 points. That's good. 38-22 Bobcats. Don't know how they get to 38 points. That's it. That'll be it. It's a good preview. I don't want to go too long. I meant to only go 40 minutes, and I'm at 47 already. Sorry, Webb. Sorry to the Wizard. Lots of editing for you, but check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/windhourgetbent. Posting. I haven't posted much this week. I'll be honest. UTSA. It's left a bad taste in my mouth. I haven't had the same wherewithal, the same gumption. I should say not wherewithal, same gumption to just get after it and type a bunch about these Bobcats because it stings. But we're gonna get on there. I got a preview coming up. Got some player profiles coming up and some other things going for that. Patreon.com/windhourgetbent. Thank you to all you sickos that are already in there. Check out WNOGB.com. Got lots of merch. Got the hat right here. Bang. Been wearing that hat on the pod sometimes. I've had the bucket hat too. Sicko shirts. I've got the Wind Hour Get Bent shirt on right here. Appreciate everyone buying merch. Been really seeing those sales go up and up, and it means a lot to us. Mentioned it earlier, wnogbkef@gmail.com if you want to be one of our sponsors on this podcast. Not too many spots left. We're starting to fill up. As you could see, it was the first 5 minutes of the pod. I was reading them. But make sure you like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel, our audio channels on Apple and Spotify. The more comments, more ratings, all that good stuff. It's good for us. Even when I poke at the birds a little bit and I try and get them to just view the pod or consume any of the content, it's good. It's good for me, and that's what they don't realize. They like to, I remind them that they have a rented stadium, and they like to reply and tell me how mad they're not about that. Keep telling me how mad you're not. That's the funniest part. They're like, "Oh, I'm replying to this, but I'm not mad about it." It's like, you seem a little mad. That got you a little bit. What are you gonna do? I don't have much over here. I gotta do what I can. Make hay while the sun's shining. But yes, please like, subscribe, comment, make accounts for your friends, make accounts for your dogs. Make accounts for your least favorite UTSA person that in your life. Just make them an account and just sabotage them with nice Bobcat comments. But thank you to TGC. Thank you to Balcones Roofing and Remodeling. Thank you to San Marcos Edward Jones and Thaddeus Watkins over there, our new sponsor. Appreciate all three of y'all for jumping in with us. Thank you to the wizard, Zachary Webb, for producing this episode and every episode, making it look good. Appreciate you, my guy. And of course, thank you, sickos, for tuning in always. Without you, I'm just shouting into the void. You make this a legitimate thing, and it's growing and doing great things. We're only 3 games into the season. Whole lot of season left. Whole lot of things we're still going to do. Hey, if you're not on the YouTube channel, go check that out. YouTube, Win Now or Get Bent on there. Go check out that recap. As I was saying, we did a UTSA recap. But there's some good stuff. Ben Bell at a sack, shoots that arrow into the crowd. We got a great angle on that. You can see another really cool angle on the Cole Wilson catch. Seems like he was looking back for a defender or the ref. I mentioned that already on the last pod. Now that I'm saying it, I remember saying it. Shout out Tyler Huff for first pointing out that that was the issue on that catch. But go check that out. YouTube, Win Now or Get Bent. But all right, everybody. All right, sickos. I hope to see you at Bobcat Stadium. I'll be there. If you're around, shoot me some messages. I'll try to come see y'all. I know I was planning on doing that for San Antonio. It's weird at the Alamo Dome. They just kind of shuffle. They have a different entrance for the media and a different elevator and everything, where we were totally away from the public. And looking at that UTSA crowd, I kind of preferred that. Not the best looking bunch. Yeah, that's right. More cheap shots for the birds, always and forever. All right, everybody. Saturday, Bobcat Stadium, Jackson State. Win now or get bent.